Welcome to the Speeding Bulletin Report. My name is Steve Younis from supermanhomepage.com, and this is all the Superman related news for the week April 18 to April 24th, 2008. In movie news, reports were circulating last week that producer Joel Silver told Chud.com that the Justice League of America movie had been tabled. The Superman homepage did some digging, and a trusted insider who was working on the JLA movie told me that the film is indeed dead. Apparently much of the crew were given termination notices a few weeks ago, spending their remaining time chaotically attempting to archive everything just in case. Thomas Tull, founder, chairman and CEO of Legendary Pictures, spoke to Hamilton College students on April 17th about his journey from Hamilton to film production. In regards to the Superman sequel, he said he hopes to invoke more of the image of an angry god. Let's wait and see what exactly that means. On the back of Tull's comments, Collider.com conducted a video interview with Brandon Routh to promote his new movie Lie to Me. During the interview, he was asked about the sequel to Superman Returns, which he hopes to begin filming early next year, and reveals he was never approached to play Superman in the JLA movie. Lastly, on the topic of Superman movies, around 2002 there was a big talk about a new Superman movie set to star Brendan Fraser as Superman, with a script written by J.J. Abrams to be directed by Brett Ratner. Obviously that never happened, but MTV.com caught up with Brendan Fraser at the New York Comic Con this past week and asked him about the failed Superman movie. He talks about having tried on the Superman suit, his audition process, the script itself and more. Check out the video interview at MTV.com. Peter McDermott updated our Smallville episode guide with his summary of last week's Smallville episode titled Descent. Neal Bailey and Douglas Trumbull have written their reviews for this same episode, with Doug giving it a 5 out of 5, saying, "Some questions on why kill Lionel now, but everything else was spot on." While Neal stated, "I give this episode a 2 out of 5, which is pretty generous for scenes that amount to about 5 minutes out of 41.5. The 17th episode of Smallville Season 7 aired in the US on Thursday, April 24th. Titled Sleeper, this episode saw Clark searching for Brainiac, who is the only one who can reverse Lana's condition. Look for our episode summary and reviews of this episode in a few days' time. Speaking of Smallville, fans living in the UK might be interested to note that Season 7 of the TV series will air on E4 at the end of April. Check your local guide for exact date and time. Warner Home Video announced the upcoming release of a 2-disc DVD collection titled DC Superheroes The Filmation Adventures. This set collects together 18 classic cartoons from 1967, the precursor to the Super Friends series. The DVD will go on sale on August 12. Look out for more details on this in the coming months. There was plenty of news coming out of the New York Comic Convention, with Jeff Johns and James Robinson revealing they have about 2.5 years worth of Superman stories planned for the comics. Word Balloon host John Suntras caught up with Grant Morrison at NYCC to discuss All-Star Superman, Final Crisis and Batman RIP. You can watch the video at newsarama.com or via YouTube. While Grant was joined by Jeff Johns for an interview with CNN about the 50-cent DC Universe Zero comic book. Comic books we reviewed at the Superman homepage this week were Superman 675, which was reviewed by Neal Bailey, who rated it a 1 out of 5, explaining what it is about Busiek's run that irked him. Legion of Superheroes in the 31st Century number 13 was reviewed by Adam DeChannel, who rated it a 4 out of 5, saying, "I hope this book stays around and that the creative team brings us more like this issue." Adam also reviewed Countdown to Final Crisis 2, saying it had no substance and gave it a 1 out of 5 rating. Tangent Superman's Reign number 2 was reviewed by Neal Bailey, who gave it a 5 out of 5, saying, "It makes me want to find the old Tangent book somehow." James Lance took a look back into the past and reviewed Superman 328 from October 1978, which had 2 stories, Attack of the Kryptonoid and Clark Kent, How Would You Like to Meet Your Real Father? Jay Torres, the writer of Legion of Superheroes in the 31st Century number 13, spoke with the Superman homepage about his issue, answering our questions about the comic and how it ties into the now cancelled animated series. Writer Kurt Busiek, leaving the Superman comic books this month, came back to the Superman homepage to conduct our final QFK forum, answering your questions about Superman 675. Come by the website now to check out Kurt's answers. Superman comics shipping this week from April 23rd include Countdown to Final Crisis 1, Death of the New Gods number 8, Justice League of America number 20, Super Friends number 2, Superman Batman number 47, and JSA Volume 2 hardcover Thy Kingdom Come Part 1. Midway Games this week announced the upcoming release of Mortal Kombat vs DC Universe. When a cataclysmic force merges conquerors from two universes, conflict is inevitable. Combat forces friends to fight, worlds to collide, and unlikely alliances to be forged. In order to save all they know, the heroes and villains of Mortal Kombat must wage war against the combined might of the DC Universe. MK vs DCU is slated to ship for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 consoles in fall 2008. Superman homepage reviewer James Lance continues reviewing story arcs from the 1940s Superman radio series, this time looking at the Scarlet Widow story, which sees the Scarlet Widow selling off pieces of kryptonite to a group of Superman's worst enemies. Superman fan John Jordan has completed another of his Superman fan animations, this time bringing us the 9-minute Superman vs. Atax mini-animated movie, in which Superman defends the Earth against the alien warlord Atax. You can check it out by going to John's YouTube page, just search for ArtGuy53. And that's all the Superman-related news for the week, April 18 to April 24. I'm Steve Younis from SupermanHomepage.com.
Death in comics! Sounds so cheery, doesn't it? Death has become a revolving door. This is following up on last week where I talked about the death of Darkseid and how it was just kind of arbitrary. Now we know he's going to be back, because if you read Grant Morrison's interviews, he says Darkseid is the main baddie in Final Crisis, and you have another major character who's supposed to die. Could be Batman, could be the Martian Manhunter, who knows. He'll be back in 3 months anyway. They kill people, they bring him back. The Flash, Barry Allen, dead. The only character that's still dead, and he's probably going to come back in Final Crisis from what I hear. And you got Wally, he bit it in the last Crisis, and now he's back, and there's apparently going to be another Crisis, Flash, Death, that kind of thing, because, you know. And you got, I read a site that said that there were no less than 7 solicitations of potential death as your dramatic tension in the summary about the comics at hand. I get it. Death in comics is scary and crazy and kind of cool. I mean, I was kind of surprised when I read the Amanda Conner drawn book by Judd Winnick where, you know, Black Canary ends up killing Green Arrow, even kind of inexplicably, but it was kind of exciting. I understand. And there have been occasions where a death has been really, really well done and hit me really hard. Blue Beetle is a very, very good example. But there are a lot of times where it just sucks and does nothing for the story and is done to prop up bad writing, and that's a lot of what we see now. I felt no sympathy for the death of Trickster. No sympathy for, who else? All of the New Gods. They died, and I just don't even care. I have no feeling of sympathy whatsoever. It just kind of sucks. And I wish DC would get over that crutch, and I wish DC would do a little bit of a better job focusing on the writing as opposed to stunt deaths.